When the draft rolls around, everybody wants to make the hot pick.
So hot right now. Cancel.
But truth is, usually the pick that raises the most eyebrows in the league and gets the most oohs and ahs on the new sexy speculative player, it's a short-lived thrill. And the owners who draft those players get that fun attention during the draft when that name comes off the board. But in reality, championship teams are built on boring, consistent players. Every year, you should have 1 to 3 boring players that get you high floor numbers. That's why today I'm going to be bringing you 8 players that are boring names coming off the board, undervalued, underappreciated, that are going to be the pillars to win you your league. My name's Sam Dietz. This is First in Fantasy. If you're new to the channel or returning, please remember to like and subscribe and drop a comment. It means a lot to me. Now let's get started. I've got 8 players today and they range all the way from round 1 all the way down to round 10. So a lot of variance. These are going to be players that you can consistently pick throughout your draft. So if some of them aren't there at any given point, you're going to have 2 or 3 of these guys available at any given point. Let's start in round 1. The most boring player going in the first round is undoubtedly Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's funny because he has one of the coolest names. Call him the Sun God. Anytime I think of this guy, I just think of friggin' Exodia from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Exodia, obliterate!
And the Egypt and the towers and pyramids, I guess. What does he do every single year? Top 5 wide receiver. Steady Eddie every single year in the Lions offense. You would think he wouldn't be a good red zone threat because he has a smaller frame, but he gets consistent separation on every single route that he runs. The Lions offense this year is funneling through him and through Jahmyr Gibbs. It's going to be a 1-2 punch every single drive. He has proven reliability. He never gets injured. Unlike other guys you got to watch out for, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, some of these phenoms that are a little bit better players overall than Amon-Ra St. Brown, they get hurt. They have red flags. That's not the case with Amon-Ra. He takes care of his body. And I know it's not going to feel exciting if he falls to you and you're looking for a wide receiver 1 and all those other guys are gone. But he's probably going to end up with around the same amount of points as those guys, just because he's so consistent. So take Amon-Ra St. Brown and don't think twice about it if he falls to you. Next, we're going to be talking about a player I've probably spoken about the most so far heading into this season, so I'm not going to beat it over the head with a bat too much. But that's Saquon Barkley of the Philadelphia Eagles. 2 years ago, he was the running back 1. Last year, he fell to running back 13. It went from one of the most historically best seasons ever as a running back to really a dud and a guy you got such poor value out of for taking 1, 2, or 3 overall in the draft. He's falling currently to that RB7, RB8 range, mid to end of round 2. I just think he has way too much value, too much upside. He legitimately could finish, in my opinion, as the RB3. He's got a consistent RB5 upside on a week-to-week basis.
Today, Junior!
He's going to outperform his ADP. I just think the Saquon apocalypse is coming this season. Is it going to be like 2 seasons ago? No. This is going to be like the little worse sequel to what 2 years ago was. And I think too many people are sleeping on him. If you draft him, he's going to get you consistently 12 to 18 points every single week, and that is a cornerstone we want on our team. I'm a big shareholder in the Eagles offense this year. They're due for a rebound, and Saquon is going to get back to jumping over people's heads backwards this season. Next guy we're going to be talking about is Chris Olave. He is currently going in round 3. Chris Olave sounds like a white guy whose biggest hobby is making handcrafted salsa.
Because people like to say salsa.
And that's the name they came up with their salsa, their Tex-Mex hybrid, Chris Olave. Last year, he got back to who he was supposed to be. He got a huge contract. He's got a good quarterback. He's got a better running back now. He's the clear wide receiver 1 for the Saints. He's a monster after the catch, which is what I like to see out of my elite wide receivers. I think this guy could finish as a top 5 wide receiver. He's being drafted sort of as a wide receiver 2, which is totally fine, but he has so much upside, but people just aren't talking about him at all. And I get it. He's with the Saints, but think about it, you guys. The Saints have a bad defense. They're going to be down. They're going to be throwing. Last year, when Tyler Shuck took over and Chris Olave broke out, that was our sneak peek into what the experience is going to be like this season, and I'm all in for it. Yes, it's not a new name. It's sort of like an old new name that finally kind of got back on track last season. So these are the players people forget about, and these are the players we want to draft at value. So if Chris Olave falls through, I'm very happy if he's my first wide receiver off the board and I've gone running back. There are a lot of players to pair with him, including the next player I'm going to talk about here. And that is a player going in round 4. That is Emeka Egbuka. This guy has more E's and K's and A's in his name than I know what to do with. He has more E's, K's, and A's than he had touchdowns last season. And yes, the fall off for Egbuka was very real. He started so hot the first 5-6 weeks of the season last year, and he had a massive drop off. And this is probably the most controversial, boring player on this list. But all the news in the offseason is that Egbuka has grown immensely as a player. Chris Godwin is aged out. Mike Evans is gone. The Bucs are a pass-happy offense with Baker Mayfield throwing the ball like 40 times a game because they're always down big. And he's going to be trying to get a contract, which means he needs a ton of yards, a ton of touchdowns to show the kind of exciting player he is. Egbuka takes over as that clear-cut wide receiver 1 in a pass-heavy offense with great game script. He will have grown as a player. I think it was a little bit too much pressure for him last season with all the excitement that went into him early on with how productive he was. I think a little bit of it got to him as a rookie. And I expect him to take a big growth step this season. I get it. He let a lot of people down in the middle and final third of the season last year, but expect a big rebound year. And it's a guy, he's going in round 4 right now. I think a lot of people are fading him. I'm seeing him go back of round 4. I've seen him fall to round 5, round 6. Like, this is a guy I've seen a lot of people dropping on when I really think he's actually going to be a steady wide receiver. I would love to lock him in as my second wide receiver or even a flex wide receiver on the board if you want wide receiver heavy early. Next, we're going to be talking about DeAndre Swift, who is going in round 5. He is the second most talked about player in the league with the last name Swift. Thanks, Taylor, for sucking all the attention from my boy, who at one point had the coolest running back name in the NFL, DeAndre Swift. But now you hear Swift, and it's all about Taylor, and then aging ancient Travis Kelce, who went to the wedding. I wasn't invited. Anyways, here's the thing. DeAndre Swift, he is a dual threat. He is good at catching out of the back. He is pretty good at everything. If I had to give him a rating out of 10 as a running back, I'd give him like a 7.5. He's not great at anything, but he's pretty good at everything. And Ben Johnson utilized him a ton last season. As we know, Ben Johnson likes to run a dual threat running back scheme. So we have him and Kyle Monangai, and I think it's probably going to be like a 60-40 split, similar to what it was last season, but the running game is so efficient under Ben Johnson, and he loves to use both players. He was very efficient last season, and I would love to get him as my second running back or a flex running back this season if I can. I see him going for 80 to 100 yards every single game with a coin flip on whether or not he scores a touchdown. We saw the Lions last year without Ben Johnson, and what did they do? They made the mistake of going too heavily into one running back. Yes, Jahmyr Gibbs is much more talented than David Montgomery, especially at this point in their careers. However, when you make things too obvious, when you don't give players a rest, by the end of the season, every defense knows who you're going to, who you're funneling through. Jahmyr Gibbs had an awful playoff run at the end of the season because every time he touched the ball, he looked gassed and he had 8 guys on him. This is something the Lions were missing last season, and that was balance. And that is something Ben Johnson does an excellent job of as an offensive coordinator, as a head coach now for the Bears. And I am just seeing DeAndre Swift fall. Nobody's talking about him. You hear, again, the guy in your league looking for the sexy pick is like, oh, I'm taking Kyle Monangai. Like a few rounds later, he's going to take over. Maybe. They're probably just going to split the workload, and they're both going to be really efficient, steady players. So take DeAndre Swift in round 5 if you can. Next is a guy we just mentioned, and that's David Montgomery, also going in round 5. I get it. David Montgomery is maybe slightly past his prime. I understand that, but he was still a very efficient running back last year when he got the touches in Detroit. Detroit just happens to have Jahmyr Gibbs, who is an absolute phenom. He's amazing. Make your pick. He's either first or second best running back in the NFL. By my money, he's second, but if you had him first, you're splitting hairs. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not here to argue about it. You could tell how angry David Montgomery was last season because when he got the touches, he was productive. He's still amazing at getting into the end zone near the goal line. He is like a big bowling ball back that nobody wants to tackle. If he gets tackled, he's taking an extra 2, 3, 4 yards with him. And that makes him really reliable when it comes to earning first down downs and scoring touchdowns in the red zone. And you can tell he's very jaded about having a role diminish last season. And here's the good news. He gets to go to a really promising offense in Houston. CJ Stroud can get back on track. Nico Collins, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Tank Dell is back and looking spry. The Texans gave up a decent amount to get David Montgomery. He is clearly being pushed in as their number one running back. Think about Joe Mixon from 2 seasons ago, how productive he was, and he was past his prime. And he was amazing for the Texans. It's going to be like that all over again, but with a guy who's better at getting into the end zone. David Montgomery is clearly taking things personally.
It became personal with me.
And I expect him to have a big prove-it season in Houston this year. One of my absolute favorite sleepers that's going unnoticed, untalked about, and that people are fading in drafts. All right, we got 2 players left. This one is maybe another little bit of a controversial one, and that is Rico Dowdle. 2 seasons ago, he was in Dallas, 1,000-yard rusher. Last season, he was in Carolina, 1,000-yard rusher. He's on the move again to Pittsburgh, and guess what? He's going to be an 1,000-yard rusher. He's a really good running back that just hasn't found a home that's been willing to give him that contract. Rico Dowdle is going to come in and be more of a bell cow. He's not going to be a full 3 downs, but I really see him getting the first, second, and goal line work and short yardage work whenever he gets the opportunity. He's going to have a really high floor. Again, that's what we're looking for. Just this boring, consistent dude's going to come in and get us 7, 8 points just on the ground. He's going to have really high touchdown upside. I could see him getting double-digit touchdowns this season. He really could finish like top 10 like running back easily as long as he doesn't get hurt, and he's proven that he can stay healthy. And people are passing on him, and I get it. It's hard to keep up where he's going. Like, dude, are you a Cowboy? Are you a Panther? No, you're a Steeler. I don't even know what a Steeler is, but that's what he is now. And at the end of the day, it's what fits his mold. He's got edge as a player. And I think he really belongs in Pittsburgh. And I could see him being here for the next 3 or 4 years if he can be productive this season. He's going in round 6, 7 right now. I love that as my running back too, if I can get him there. Just nice, steady floor every single season. That's going to raise your team up. And last but not least, we are going to be talking about Denver Broncos quarterback Bo Nix. No one's thought of it. No one wants to say it. But I'll say it, Bo Nix is the white Caleb Williams. He's boring. He's not flashy. But if you look at their stats, they are nearly identical. Literally go and compare their stats from the last season, and they are identical to one another. But guess what? Nobody talks about Bo Nix. I wonder why that is. Well, he doesn't paint his fingernails. He doesn't wear eyeliner. He doesn't do flamboyant, weird stuff all the time. He's got like that military like crew cut. He's like pale white. In Denver, mountain backdrop, doesn't blame his teammates, always wants to get better. He's like bizarro Caleb Williams. They're like the inverse of each other, but they somehow end up at the same point. And just for some fun stats for you, both players had 3,900 passing yards last season. Bo Nix had 25 passing touchdowns. Caleb Williams had 27. Bo Nix had 356 rushing yards. Caleb Williams had 388. They both ended with the same amount of total touchdowns, and that was 30. Bo Nix took 22 sacks. Caleb Williams took 24. They are literally the same player, but I've never ever heard anyone say it, and it drives me crazy. They're just like the Oreo versions of each other. Bizarro version. I'm just loving Bo Nix in round 9, 10 right now. This is the year to wait on quarterback. Unless you want to be that big spender on Josh Allen, wait till rounds 9, 10, even further, and you're going to get a good quarterback. Caleb Williams is going to go a couple rounds sooner, and you can get Bo Nix, the exact same player, for a few rounds later. Draft Bo Nix. If you made it this long in the video, I really appreciate you. Please remember to like and subscribe. We're going to be putting out full-length videos like this every single day, as well as shorts that are different from the videos. We're about 1 month away from the start of the NFL season. We're hoping as we grow to create a Discord eventually. We're going to be doing Mailbag Mondays. We're going to be doing a ton of mock drafts coming up. If there is a spot you want me to do a mock draft from in your league, or there's a standard, there's a setup, I would love to do that. So please just drop that here, and I'm happy to do that. If there's a player you have a question on, or just fantasy football questions in general, please let me know. I'm happy to help. All right, hope you all have a great day.